Look down at the Pacific Ocean from space. It is a deep, heat-absorbing blue. Now, watch as a creeping white sheet of ice marches relentlessly down from the poles. The ice acts like a giant mirror, reflecting the sun's vital heat back into space. The colder it gets, the faster the ice moves. A runaway, frozen feedback loop. You are witnessing the Albedo Effect snapping the jaws shut on the world's cradle. The entire ocean is sealed beneath a mile of solid, impenetrable, unforgiving white ice. We are not merely looking at winter, we are looking at a tomb for life. Welcome to the Cryogenian epoch, the moment Earth forgot how to breathe in the sun. But before the silence, there was chaos, a world torn apart by its own geology. 700 million years ago, the supercontinent Rodinia was splintering, and the planet was watching. Massive tectonic rifting exposed fresh rock, a trap laid by the planet's own restless mantle. Rainwater reacted with the exposed silicate rocks, pulling carbon dioxide straight from the thin air. The planet's thermostat began to fail as the greenhouse gases were scrubbed from the sky. The global temperature plummeted, dragging the world down into a deep, dark, and endless slumber. The tropics, the very engine of Earth's warmth, began to shudder under the encroaching cold. The shallow seas, once teeming with life, were slowly turned into solid blocks of ice. Primitive life, unsuspecting and simple, found its world shrinking to the size of a puddle. Sun, once a giver of life, became a distant, cold orb in a darkening sky. The reflection of heat was now absolute. The trap had fully and finally slammed shut. Glaciers, miles high, carved the face of the Earth, reshaping the bones of the planet. Time stood still inside the ice, a capsule preserving the atmosphere of a lost world. Every creature, every microbe, every dream of life was driven into the deepest ocean trenches. Only the abyss remained. Life clung to the volcanic vents, the planet's final, flickering heartbeat. The warmth of the Earth's core was the only barrier against the absolute zero outside. Life was waiting, enduring the crushing weight of the ice, dreaming of the distant, ancient sun. Earth was a white marble, spinning in the void, waiting for a spark of salvation. 10 million years of ice. A silence that stretched across epochs of profound, frozen solitude. But the Earth was not dead. Deep below, the tectonic forces were plotting a violent return. The fire from within would eventually challenge the ice that held the world in chains. The war between fire and ice had finally, after eons, begun its slow, turning tide. Beneath miles of ice, the ocean is not a place of silent death. Ancient bacteria cling silently, waiting for heat from the Earth's core. Here, life does not need sunlight. They feed on minerals from the planet's core. They are time travelers, carrying the genetic code of an entire era within them. This icy shell is a cage, protecting them from the absolute cold outside. Water circulates, distributing scarce energy throughout the completely frozen planet. Life had to adapt harshly to survive in this giant freezer. We are seeing Earth's first cities, built in the darkness. This world is larger than any continent that ever existed on the planet's surface. Every cell division is a victory against the cold engulfing the entire world. Sometimes, warmth flares up, signaling the instability of the geological crust above. Life is fragile yet resilient, always finding ways to squeeze through the smallest cracks. The beauty of this silence hides a terrible cruelty of time. Beneath the ice, the planet is still breathing, breaths full of fire and hope. Life is self-replicating, silently preparing for a future when the ice will melt. Not everywhere has heat. Migration is mandatory to continue surviving. Life moves slowly, following warm currents flowing in the darkness. A weak ray of sunlight is enough to make bacteria seek hope. Every mineral is a feast. Every vibration is a step in evolution. This is creation's laboratory, where life trains itself in harshness. The planet is still moving, crushing rock layers, pushing life into small, narrow spaces. When one vent shuts down, another heat source opens, continuing to sustain life. They are not alone. We are part of the vast network of life in the depths. Pressure is increasing. Life is pushed into limits no species has ever seen. Life spreads like plant roots, searching for any remaining heat. Every hair is a sensory organ, sensing the flow of warmth from afar. The collapse of the ice brings danger, but also opens new paths. The death of one part is the beginning of another, an eternal loop. The intersection of currents creates fertile waters in the heart of the cold ocean. Endurance is the greatest virtue of life in the brutal ice age. The ground is stirring. The silence of the ice age is about to be threatened from the depths. Heat no longer lies still. It begins the journey to break those icy chains. A change in the smallest temperature makes billions of organisms wake up simultaneously. Life is ready for a new era, an era of fire and melting. The pressure is too great. Fire is attacking the ocean's ice wall head-on. Survival instinct arises, urging life to leave what was once a safe home. The ice begins to crack. The pressure of the heat is making the surface surrender. A monster named temperature is rising, tearing apart the eternal ice age. After so many years, light finds the way back to the depths for the first time. The veil has torn. The world of fire and light is preparing to return and rule. The planet's mantle is furious, rupturing the icy shell with millions of tons of molten lava. Thick, dark ash plumes blot out the sun, turning the sky into a bruised, ominous purple. The carbon dioxide, trapped for aeons, now floods the air, creating a planetary warming blanket. The Albedo Effect now fights a new enemy, the dark heat of the planet's core. Rivers of liquid fire meet the glacial wall, screaming as water vapor rises in clouds. Firestorms rage across the landscape, shattering the white tomb into thousands of jagged shards. The white landscape is stained black with soot, forcing the sun to finally burn through. The first river in millions of years carves a path through the dying, ancient ice. The extreme heat triggers the first awakening, life sensing the return of the liquid world. Global temperatures skyrocket, shattering the frozen stillness that held life captive for so long. For the first time in an age, hot, acidic rain falls upon the melting crust. The ice sheet is no longer a monolith. It is a crumbling relic of history. The oceans swell, consuming the coastlines, reclaiming the land that once slept under the ice. The volcanic winter fades, revealing a clear, warm sky that glows with ancient solar fire. Microbial life flourishes in the warm, nutrient-rich soup, preparing for an explosion of complexity. The rising tides create new, shallow nurseries, perfect for the coming evolution of complex life. The Great Thaw is complete, leaving behind a scarred, changing, and vibrant new planet. Rocks remember the freeze, etched with the scars of glaciers that once crushed the world. The stage is reset. The actors are ready. Evolution is about to change the game. The white tomb is broken, and life emerges, hungry for the freedom of the open. Tiny specks of green appear in the mud, the first heralds of a changing biosphere. The air is thick, humid, and heavy with the promise of 1 billion years ahead. Global currents stabilize, circulating the life-giving heat that will sustain the next great age. Water rushes through canyons, erasing the memory of the ice in a torrent of change. The world is no longer a prisoner of the ice, but a host for life. Deep in the warm tides, a new design is forming, a step towards something greater. We look back at the white tomb and see not death, but a necessary crucible. Our home is a survivor, forged in the extremes of frozen fire and absolute cold. The Albedo Effect was a warning. The Earth is a system that demands constant balance. This was the end of the ice, and the silent beginning of our own journey. Today, we look at the ice caps and remember the lesson of the white tomb. The planet's climate is a delicate dance, swaying between the extremes of heat and cold. We walk upon a world that has died and been reborn 1,000 times over. Our history is written in the ice, a cold ledger of the price of survival. We are the inheritors of this resilience, the witnesses to a long, hard-fought victory. Life, once frozen in the dark, now erupted into 1,000 strange, complex, beautiful forms. The pressure of the ice had forged something new, creatures with eyes, armor, and purpose. The world was no longer a tomb, it had become a vibrant, chaotic biological laboratory. Greenery reached for the sky, exhaling oxygen, changing the very chemistry of our fragile atmosphere. Water, the element of both ice and life, now danced across the revitalized, warm land. Geography settled into the shapes we recognize, the continents shifting to their ancient, destined places. Beneath our feet, the rocks store the memory of the cold, a diary of survival. This is the legacy of the thaw, a planet that learned to balance its own heart. We live in the window of stability, a brief golden age carved from a frozen past. The ancestors of everything we know today were forged in that singular, icy crucible. Now, a new force walks the Earth, altering the atmosphere faster than any volcanic event. We are the newest geological force, pulling carbon from the Earth and casting it skyward. The ice, once the anchor of our world's climate, begins to whisper of retreat again. The Albedo Effect is shifting, and the mirror that cools our planet is turning dark. Heat seeks the balance, but our actions are tipping the scales toward a new unknown. Will life adapt once more? Or is the current change too rapid for the ancient rhythm? The atmosphere, fueled by our energy, is striking back with the fury of a giant. We are the eyes of the planet, the first species capable of understanding our own destiny. Can we harmonize our civilization with the rhythms of the world that birthed our ancestors? The Earth is not a static stage, but a living, breathing, and wildly shifting partner. We read the ice to understand the future, searching for clues in our own deep history. Every morning is a renewal, a chance to steer the trajectory of our shared home planet. Our ambition is aflame, but we must ensure it does not consume our only home. The ocean remembers the ice, and it knows the resilience required to survive the long thaw. We are custodians of this legacy, the ones who decide the next chapter of the saga. We are the only ones who can see the cycle, the only ones who can act. Speed is our vice, but patience is the virtue of the planet that we call home. If we listen to the stone and the ice, we might find the path to balance. The saga of the Earth continues, written in the ice, the fire, and our own choices. The ice is waiting, the fire is burning, and the world is always, always watching us. When the ice finally vanishes, what legacy will we leave in the barren, waiting Earth? The White Tomb is not just a memory of our past, but a warning of potential. We are the brief heartbeat of a planet that has endured everything, and yet survives. Do we possess the wisdom to prevent the mirror from turning dark once again? Or are we, like the ice, destined to melt into the history of this silent world?